Yeah, so we will go over entries a little bit more, yeah. And I'll just take you through like, well, yeah, like the last 5 winning trades that I've taken, because they're all quite good examples of slightly different entry types. Yes, Sam, can you hear it? Is it too loud for you? Should I turn it down? There you go. Is that better? Turn it up. Mate, I've fucking fully fallen in love with this tune. I was chatting to Lewis and said, like, you know, when you just find the tune and then you just play it over and over and over and over and over and over, and then you never listen to it again. What was it? It was this California Dreaming featuring Hijinks or some shit. What's this? Music from the strip club. No, it's not the music from the strip club. That was different music. It's this tune. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Let's do entries. Where am I listening? Okay. Cool. Everyone can see, yeah? I'm assuming that's yes. Perfect. Okay, so right, obviously, like with entries, as we all know, it's all fully about like framing up the higher time frame stuff, right? And getting that higher time frame narrative like in order first, right? So, you know, like again, just running over this, like we've had a huge impulse. We're having some form of complex pullback. Run the low, fail to close below it, right? I was quite aggressive here. This hit like a little refined thing. And to be honest, I was a bit bored now. I haven't traded for like 2 days. So yeah, don't necessarily be like me, but yeah. I wouldn't necessarily recommend taking second entry against this, but there was a clean 1M entry, right? Yeah, if we look here, we get let's just touch come back. So bounce off there. So yeah, we have one chotch there, we have another chotch there, right? And it's always the same thing, right? Like takes out equal lows, gives chotch, and then just continues on its merry way. Right? Like it just does the same stuff over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? But yeah. So then market continues on up, right? And here, let's go down to it. Right, so here, right, what I was seeing, right, was like we had run that massive wick, right? So we were probably going to get some form of a pullback, right? We hadn't had a 15M chotch, like a bullish chotch, right? But like the way I was seeing this, right, was, okay, well, we're probably going to bounce off this POI, right? But like likely is this, where have those things gone? Right, likely is price going to continue and do this at this point in time, right? We've just seen an extended down move that has created a ton of liquidity to run to the upside potentially, right? This is a very discounted area, and this actually failed to break the low, right? So is that likely to continue on like that? Probably not, right? On 15M, right, like I was looking at this as, okay, this is a demand range, right? We've had a high, we've had a low, it's pushed and broken range, right? So we can trade from something within here until this low goes. If this low goes, this low goes, right? That's all I'm thinking at that point in time. Like we're probably going to get a deeper retrace, right? Again, I didn't really expect it to do what it's done. I thought we'd probably get a pullback and then continue on down, right? But then we tap, like it taps very specific shit, right? And this is like when I'll be aggressive, right? Like here, if we look at this, this is literally the range that breaks this high, right? It's the first break of structure within this here, right? This is taking out equal lows here, right? So I'm thinking, okay, well, if I get any form of reaction from there, fuck it, I'll take a trade. I'll see what happens, right? We get a charge, we create this little range and break out the top of that range. So yeah, for me, I was like, cool, I'll just take that, right? Like if this low goes, like I can get my stop here below the low, right? If this low goes, then likely this whole thing is failing. I'm getting taken out of this break even. Well, not break even, I'd already partialed this. But yeah, I'm getting taken out of this and I'll get taken out of this and I can accept the loss because I know overall where we are in price, right? Like that's the key factor is where we are in price, what we've just done, right? Like, do you remember, I know a few of you were with GT, but I'm sure we used to write on the charts, like, where have we come from? What are we doing now? What are we likely to do? Or what would I like to see? Right? It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? It's building that story. I mean, yeah, obviously GT made... What? Shut up. Yeah, like, I'm sure... Well, GT was a questionable strategy at the best of times, but some of the things made sense, right? Like that. Like, ask yourself those questions, right? Like here, I'm expecting a deeper retrace. I know what we're doing on daily. I know what we're doing on 4H. I know, do you know what I mean? Like, oh God, you're not really going to be able to see this. But yeah, on daily, we've given a chart, right? We've come down, we've run the low, right? We can expect a pullback at least, right? Potentially a continuation to higher prices, right? We'll have to wait and see, but yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, it's reacted to something very specific within that. I'm happy to take a risk there. Like, it makes enough sense to me. It's liquidated something into that POI, right? I've got liquidity that I can target. So yeah, cool. Just see what happens, right? And then price continues to move up. This last entry was a bit funky, in all honesty, because I missed the actual entry because I didn't really expect it to happen at this time. I mean, I just clicked on my phone and yeah. So here I was seeing, right, was what we done. So we had given some form of like M15 chart here. We'd taken this low, we'd taken this high here. Right, taking this high here. So yeah, cool. We can look down in here for some form of POI, right? What do we have? I think I found, yeah, I like this wick basically was it, because this had reacted to here. I didn't love this. I kept an eye on it, but yeah. Price. Right, it's either coming to here or, you know, it might come to the extreme, but this is a nice flip, right? It's taken out these little lows here, like, you know, you can see that on second, probably quite a nice bit of PA there, to be honest. Not that I heard, but yeah, you can see there you get like that running that low there into that. It's a mitigation, like continues about price, comes back down into it. And yeah, there was a trade a bit earlier here, like from here, basically. I missed it. So I just waited and saw that. How the fuck did I get in this? I think this was one of my more... no, this is what I saw, right? So price came in here. Well, 5S, because I took it on 5S. Price came in, respected this, gave the chotch here, right? I didn't catch this, so I waited until this came back to mitigate the range. And then I thought, okay, I'm not... I can't move that, but yeah. I put a buy stop above this little high here, basically. Because I was like, okay, well, if it's going to continue lower, it'll probably continue lower off this range into here, and then we might get another reaction here, or I can do that, right? I could have, in all honesty, quite happily just clicked buy there with a pip of stop and covered the low, but yeah, I didn't for some reason. I can't remember why. But, and then off it goes. But yeah, it's that whole thing again of, you know, we've got all these highs to target, right? Price has created equal highs up here. We've run this liquidity here. Like we've had a V-shaped recovery from a POI, right? And then, yeah, obviously price continues on up. Let's put this on 15 then, so it goes a little bit faster. And now, yeah, like when I wake up, I mean, it's what I said this morning, right? Like I wanted the sell, I wanted the sell to buy. I missed the buy because I was out. But yeah, that was your idea, right? Hold on. So yeah, over here, what had I seen? This had come up in some M15 thing up here. Yeah, this had induced this high, right? Taken out the high there, taken out this liquidity there, right? I was thinking, okay, well, like we've got this massive bit of, we've got this massive bit of like swing structure over here, right? Like this whole leg, but this is a very big leg to not like to just be saying, okay, the intentions are just bearish, right? So in this case, it's like looking at what's available to you, and we're getting all these internal breaks of structure, right? We get this low, this low, this low, this fails to close below. We take this low, we take this high, right? So my idea was always we'll probably get a sell down to below here, right? And then a move up. I didn't expect this level. I expected something more down here, but you know, hey, home market does what it wants. But yeah, we'd come up, we'd induce that high up there. Right, it's the extreme. And we got, again, run equal highs here, right? Gave a chotch and a flip here. And I just waited here on the 5S and took that, that when we got this next chotch away, right? When this low went here, flip chotch, yeah, cool, I'll hit the wick, basically, right? That was the best place I could get my stop. Then obviously, and you see how they're all the same thing, right? Like it's like always the same events always happen, right? I'm never changing anything. Like it's always like, okay, cool, I'm trading from an extreme against order flow, so I'll trade one. And sometimes, yeah, I'll do stupid stuff on the seconds, but yeah, like you could have got in this trade happily down here twice on 1M alone, right? And then up here again, it's waiting for 1M and then confirming it with the seconds, right? And again, same thing here, right? We've got this. I think this was like 2M or something. What was it? 3M. 2M, I think I used. Yeah, we had like these wicks here, basically this whole little range here. But I quite like that. And then price, yeah, it comes back up, right? Taps it. And again, all I did here was like, okay, cool. Well, the market has two options here at the moment, right? It's either going to bounce off this level or it's going to go through that level, right? So I saw that low get created and I put a sell stop below that low, right? Because we've got this PA again, right? We've got a run on equal highs, right? Equal lows to target, right? So I'm thinking, okay, this is basically the extreme. If this high is holding, this is where price is holding it from, right? But the main key is it's all in the levels that you trade from, right? It's why someone took a trade here, and I was just like, well, you know, it's all right, but like it doesn't really come to anything here, you know, like it doesn't really hit anything specific, right? So yeah, here's your trade. This hits something specific, and off it goes to hell for a bit, right? Obviously bounced around. There's obviously entries within there. And this entry down here. Oh no, wait, it fucks around loads first, doesn't it? I know Rishab took a trade a short, which makes sense as well, because here again, right, you can say, okay, we've just run significant liquidity, right? Asia high, all of these equal highs, right? If we get a change in order flow, likely what are we likely going to see? We're likely going to see lower prices at that point in time, right? So we get that, you know, when it takes out this low here. I haven't actually figured out how I would have got into this trade, but yeah, it comes back into this. Would I be happy there? Probably would if like pull back into that, to be honest. If it does. What have we got on 1M here? It's a tricky trade. Well, it may not be if it respects that, but I think from memory it runs that little high there. Does it run? No, it's perfectly equals with it. So yeah, no, that would be valid. Let's see. So yeah, no flip here, so you wouldn't take the trade here. Does it come back after it touches? Church, yeah, there. See if that works out or not. I don't like those highs. I reckon they might get run, but no, off it goes. But yeah, you see, like, I mean, that I haven't, like, literally, I just back tested that trade, but it's the same shit, right? You see how I validate everything? Like, okay, fine, doesn't trade above here, it trades at exact equal highs. Yes, we get a charge. Yes, we get a run on liquidity here. There's your entry. Like, that's the 1M thing. You know, it's so simple. Like, so simple, right? And then, you know, what are your targets? Well, initially you're targeting down there. Off it goes. Right? Like, perfect. And then you get that slightly mad trade that happened. Oh no, that was the mad trade. But here again, right? You come down, you respect this demand level again, you run equal lows, give a change of character. On the 5S, you come back and you give another change of character. Look, charge. There you go, there's your entry. Like, so simple, right? But yeah, you know, like, it's always like these trades are good after you run like points of liquidity, shit like that, right? Like over here, this is good because you run a point of liquidity, you've got some liquidity to target. Same here, this is a weak high, right? It's failed to break swing structure. Yes, it's created bearish order flow, but yeah, we all know what it did afterwards, right? And then yeah, just continues on up. And then here you've just got a really nice, simple continuation, right? Like if you're just looking here at structure, right? Like even on 1M, you can see you've got a higher low. That higher low has taken out liquidity, right? You've got an extreme. There's your break of structure, and you've got equal lows there, right? So now you can just wait and see what happens. How does price retrace to it? Price retraces slowly, right? Creating liquidity for a future move up, creates more equal lows, runs the equal lows, turns around, right? Reacts to the high here. You see it? Straight away reacts to the high. You get little sell to buy wicks, right? You see, it's like, it's the exact same scenario, basically, right? This is like a 15M wick as well. It's not just some random thing. Oh, okay, I'll unmute myself. But yeah, then price comes back in and gives a little change of character. What did I make that up in my head? To be honest, I took that on my phone, so yeah, I thought it had. But yeah, price again gives us a reaction, takes out this high, so you could use the buy stop above there if you're trading it sensibly and not being a bit of an idiot like me. But yeah, we'll say I took this on the 1S, and so yeah, look, there you go, change of character there. All right, beautiful. But yeah, it's exactly the same thing again, right? Like, more than anything, the reason why I've always found, like, why I always say entries are the easy part, right, is because when you're in the right area, you should just be able to think logically. If price is going to deliver bearishly, right, what does it have to do? Well, it has to run equal highs. There has to be some form of interaction between supply and demand so that demand gets tested and taken out of the market, right? And then there needs to be a retest of that level or the liquidity grab, and price will continue on up, right? Like, and yeah, that's exactly what it does. Right. And then everyone's wondering why, like, over here they're getting stopped out, or because it's just bullish, right? Like, now it's so important to understand that what's price's overall objective right now. Well, to me, it appears to be this high, right? Like, the way price is now mooned off of here, the only place I'd be expecting any real form of resistance is this, right? Like, here we may get some form of a sell-off, but likely that will be to go and continue to create higher prices, right? Because now the high from this extreme has failed to create a new low, so this high in theory becomes weak because it's already been mitigated. But yeah, does that make sense? Like, about entries and shit? Yeah, with stops, we have such an aggressive, like, what you mean, like this push. Well, here it makes sense to just continue buying, right? You don't really need to wait for a deep retrace because you've got to think about what you've got in line. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, with stops, I place them like one tick ahead of price normally. But yeah, it's a bit off topic. I'm struggling to see those points of liquidity. I'm entering the trade too soon, I think. I wait for one chart. I'm trading for newly created chart. Is there a flip there or not? Like, that's well, what's it mitigated? Because oftentimes you'll see, like, where's a good example? There's one the other day that I was talking about with someone. Yeah. Right? Like, if you're just getting in on chotches like this, likely they're not going to work very well, right? Because this chotch has no real flip with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you look at the PA, you can go, okay, yeah, that should work. Okay, cool. You can take a trade from there. You get stop break even or you get stopped out. But then look, you get a much better bit of PA here, right? Sometimes it's just about, like, thinking, do I need to take this trade right fucking now? Or can I wait for it to develop a little bit more? Right? Like, the only times, like I mean, it's like here, right? The time I'd use the seconds is on this trade here, right? Because you can see it's come back here, so you want to see it like redistribute. Like, you can wait for them to develop. So before any entry, you look for inducement or you look for a charge. Well, it has to be like, it's a sequence of events, right? So it's liquidation, mitigation, V-shaped recovery, change of character, and supply to demand flip, and then entry, basically. Right? Like, it needs to be that sequence of events specifically, nothing else, right? Like, the chotch and the flip are interchangeable when they happen. If you go back over a few of the Zooms, I talk about that sort of shit in there. But yeah, normally, well, not normally, that is, if you want to take the highest probability entries, that's what you need to wait for. Liquidation, mitigation, SD flip, change of character, retest, and a V-shaped recovery before all of that, basically, right? Like essentially the entry model we want to see is this, right? Equal highs get created, equal highs get taken out. We see some form of interaction, we see a test like that, and we see that. That's it. Like it's a really simple entry model. Like really, really, really simple. It's all about the areas you trade from. Like it's the most important thing. Once you start getting really good at refining POIs and stuff like that, no, it's not okay to just see one. You need to, I don't know. I do take trades just on SD flips sometimes. They don't always work, but yeah. You can take them on that. But yeah, no, what I mean by interchangeable is the ideal scenario is to see liquidation, mitigation, right? V-shaped recovery, then the SD flip, then the change of character, right? But what I mean is you can see like liquidation, mitigation, then the change of character, then the SD flip, and then you can take that. Can I write what, mate? Sorry? Could I repeat the conditions when to be aggressive? At high quality POIs or after large runs on liquidity, basically. That's like if you're ever not sure of anything, just wait a little bit. Like the trade will develop, you know, like it's like this trade here, right? Like you think this trade is, you think this trade is gone because you missed this entry down here, but there's an entry, you know, there's probably an entry in here somewhere. There's an entry here, right? And that trade goes on and does, you know, I mean, I partialed that there. So 1 to 33, right? Like price will give you other entries. Don't just stress because you've missed the bottom or the top. Don't just stress and sit there, I'm shit, I can't fucking trade, I've missed everything, the market's gone without me. Because they need to do the same shit again and again and again and again. It's how they fill orders. It's how price works. Right? I mean, I have no idea whether that's what actually happens, but the repeatability of it would suggest that there's something going on there, that's the way price moves, you know? Yeah, I would guess I don't know what the market maker model is, mate, but yeah, I would guess it's very, very similar. Sometimes you see the CHOCH and LQ sweep at the same time. Yes. Like you see something like this. Sweep, CHOCH, straight down. How do we know? So normally the way I trade now is like if I see a big run of liquidity into an area I really like, right, and it hits a refinement, then I'll trade seconds against that, right? It's always more risky. But yeah, otherwise I'll wait for like 1M to present and then like all of these trades, right? These are all present on 1M first, right? The only trade here that isn't present on 1M first is this one, really. Even this trade to a degree is present here because of the quality of the POI, right? Like it's an SD flip, it's run liquidity, it's very low price. We've had a break of structure, all of that sort of stuff. And the change character. But yeah, like this is the only one I took, right? But again, it's because we ran liquidity. I really like the price action on the 5S and I like the POI that it come to because that POI was of significance, right? It's the 4-hour wicks that it's these 4H wicks here, right? And it was the thing that broke, like it mitigated some specific little 1M thing, right? But these wicks, right? What like this is where I mean like taking it into context, right? What do these wicks do? These wicks create this, right? They break this, right? Price is obviously going to get some form of aggressive reaction to that. You know, like after like, and think about like, this is what I mean when you sort of sometimes when you're analyzing, right, don't just think technicals, right? Actually sit there and look at the market, right? This rejection here, right? This is a move of this drops 120 pips in what something ridiculous like under an hour, right? And then retraces 76 pips in about the same sort of time, right? How much fucking money do you think went into that move? Because I'm telling you, it was a lot, like a hell of a lot, right? So somebody has a serious amount of stop losses under here, right? There's going to be people going, oh, if this breaks, it's going lower, right? We can trade it lower, right? There's so much money sitting below that wick. Look at the size of it. Look at the significance of that, right? When we tap into that and we get an aggressive reaction, I know that there's been a big run on liquidity there into a demand zone I really like, right? Fuck it. It's worth the risk. Like, you know, those are the trades that, yeah, make your Instagram look good. Touch a bit on stop orders. Like, I don't, to be honest, mate, I've sort of, I don't massively use them that much. I mean, I used 2 in the last 5 trades. One should have been an entry, but yeah, they are tricky, mate. Like, to be honest, because you get bad fills, you get like it's hard to cover the high sometimes, stuff like that. But yeah, if I think basically when I use a stop order is if I make a snap decision of, okay, I can get my stop in a reasonable place and there's a reasonable point of liquidity to target, right? Like if I'm seeing something like this, for instance, right? Here we have a big pool of liquidity, right? We come up, we mitigate something really nice up here, right? We do something like this. Right here, I'll think, okay, right now is worth the risk because I can cover this high, right, with my stop. Right, so at the moment, this is worth the risk of saying if this goes here, this will likely take out this liquidity here. Right? But yeah, more times than not, you get a retest. You just have to be quick on the retest. But it is always better to wait for change of character because otherwise you're assuming things, and we shouldn't really assume things. But yeah, when we don't have interaction, if there's it, like if it's coming from an SD flip, right? Like, so there has to be an SD flip somewhere in the whole picture, basically. Yeah. Like, I would never take a trade just off the change of character. If either the POI hasn't been an SD flip or there hasn't been an SD flip on 1M or something like that, somewhere in the entry there has to be an SD flip. Otherwise, I wouldn't suggest taking a trade without one. SD flips. Yep. So SD flip is here. All right, this is one. So here we create this level of supply here, right? This supply breaks the low here. All right, so we know it's valid. Supply price comes into it, right? Reacts to it, creates a sell to buy range that then pops the high. So this is where supply got absorbed and changed into demand. All right, comes back for a retest and off it goes to the moon. Streams in seconds after charge. Could I please show a scenario where markets test the extremes in seconds after charge? What? What? I don't really understand that, mate. Show scenarios where market tests the extremes in seconds. I mean, you always have to be aware of extremes, mate. Like if the extreme's valid, just trade a reaction to the decision, right? Like here, I was looking at this on my phone, so I thought it had Church, but yeah, like here, wait for the reaction, right? Because here is also a valid level, right? We just get a reaction to this level. It's not the M15 high rather than 4H high. I think the 4H high is 8 pips lower. But over here, no, this would be the 4H high, mate. This was a 4H high, yeah, but this gets taken. So where's the 4H high now? 4H high is here. Like, I'm just talking about for the range, right? Like, swing structures over here. We haven't had a break of 4H structure yet, but this is the highest that 4H has traded. So this is the 4H high at the moment. Do you see what I mean? Like, the market's traded here. Yeah, no. Like, we haven't had a break of structure yet. Like, still, like, for me, this is it's not bearish, but it is bearish. Do you know what I mean? Like, technically, according to swing structure, we are still in a bearish market, but it's looking highly likely that we won't be for very long. You know? But yeah. Sorry, mate. Sorry if you found that confusing. Like, this is just like, I just have these marks, so I can. Yeah, this shouldn't even be here. So I can put. So I can have an idea of. I haven't done this, but yeah. So I just have I'd have this marked here, right, and then this marked here, like that. Yeah, so I've got like this is why I'm still like, you know, when everyone's like, oh, it's going to come short, probably not. We haven't pulled back to premium yet, and we are really starting to see some form of like, you know, like some form of consolidation that will probably lead to a deeper retrace, right? And potentially, you know, we take out like we'll see how we deal with this basically. If we take out this, we're coming up to take out these equal highs, and we're coming up to something in here. It's 40 pips. Yes, 40 pips is H4 swing structure. But it has, so you're thinking, why isn't this here, right? You're thinking, why is this not the 4H? Why is this not 4H swing? Because it's just one candle. Like, it's just a range. The trader, this one here, this one, fuck yeah, man. Fuck 100% I would have. 100% I would have. Without a shadow of a doubt. Like, again, it's just where we're coming into, right? Like, we're reacting to this and we see it run these really nice equal lows. It's just about looking at it and going, okay, I've seen this shit before. You know, like I wouldn't have necessarily had this area like marked, right? I would have been aware of this area because it is the range that breaks structure, but I wouldn't have necessarily had this pegged for the reversal, right? But after I saw the market like deliver really nice, clean, equal lows here, we might have taken an L getting into it over here or something. I would the only thing I would like, no, it's not textbook. It's not textbook. Because the POI isn't brilliant and there's no SD flip on the one end. So it's definitely not textbook. But for me, that's very clean. Yeah. Like, but again, it's like I said in the EU chat earlier, right? Like, someone said you don't really share as well. I mean, I don't take that many. I still take a few doing dumb shit, right? But like, the more and more you trade an edge, the more and more you trade one specific way of trading, the more and more you gain that intuition about it, right? Like, you gain that thing, right? And I've been trading this fucking exact same way for a year. My brother grows it, mate. It's really nice. Really like light sort of tie shit. But yeah. But yeah, does that make sense to everyone? Does anyone have any questions about that? Yes, always. No, that Cali shit's too strong for me, mate. But yeah, cool. Does that make sense? Yeah, to everyone about everything. No, I can't get you lot to all start smoking weed. That's not fucking morally responsible of me, is it? What did you do with your life? I made a bunch of people trade and smoke weed. Yes, we should go to Amsterdam, actually. I was thinking that earlier. I was going to listen to I want to go to Amsterdam. But yeah, we should do that next year when the world's a bit fucking better. But yeah. No, we're not talking about anything else on here. It's a Zoom, mate. We can get arrested for that shit. Is there more content on the entries? Yeah, there's like 3 videos, mate. Or 4 now, including this one. Yeah, just have a look through. We actually need to try and get this sorted. Yeah, we should. Me and Lewis were actually saying one day it might be quite cool to fucking make like a trading floor or something. That might be quite sick. It's the best way to really learn about structure. Yeah, like, mate, honestly, Pete, sorry to throw you in at the deep end here, mate, but yeah, message Mike Wagner on Trading View. On Trading View on Discord. He's been doing some work with structure. Yeah. Also on OnlyFans. Yeah, I know, mate. You are a sexy bastard. A trading question: since you wait for the retest, when do you usually hit them? Like as soon as I think that I can get away with a 1 pip stop, mate. To be honest, what's my daily loss limit? I don't really have one, mate. Like, to be honest, I would suggest. Yeah, then it's like this whole thing, right? Like, I know everyone's big into mindset and all of that sort of stuff, right? But I don't like. I've tried very hard to stop thinking about trading as an emotional thing, right? Like, for me, it's more whether I'm making the right or wrong decisions, right? Like, if I'm looking at my trades, like if I say if I take like 3 hits in a row, right? I'll stop and I'll look at those 3 hits and I'll think, okay, was this an intelligent, like was I right in my analysis, but I just fucked up my entries, right? If it's a no, like I was wrong in everything, then likely I'll probably walk away. I'll go and like have a little think, and then I'll just come back and be like, all right, cool, let's get back to it, right? Yeah, that's a lot of the time. It is that as well. To be honest, it does keep. I'm just like, whatever, fuck it. I'll make it back next trade. But yeah, like, I mean, but that's, I mean, honestly, it's the way I think of it. I'm just like, well, I'll make it back. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's the fucking drama? Like, when you can hit, like today, I didn't short that, but yeah, 1 to 20, like 50 odd fucking R in a day. Like, you can take a lot of hits, man. Like, you really can. You just need to trust yourself. And when you've taken a loss, analyze it and see whether your analysis was right and you just fucked up your entry. And if you fucked up your entry, back test your entry, right? And get the entry right and then move on, you know? Yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people also say that hitting fucking 1 to 100 isn't possible. A lot of people say, you know, we shouldn't be able to stop the market with a pip of stop. A lot of people say a lot of stuff, man. Yeah, that's my views on it. No, I wouldn't suggest that. Like, have some risk management in place. But yeah, I mean, if you're risking 1%, it should, as long as you're being sensible and not getting emotional, right, and not like saying here, right, like, yeah, to a degree, you probably, looking at this PA, you probably could have made a case for taking a long hit, right? Okay, fine. You got stopped out. As long as you're not then thinking, okay, I'm still right. Buy. Oh, fuck. Right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you've made all of those decisions wrong, then you're like, okay, cool. I need to walk away and I need to really fucking reevaluate my life. and see whether I'm still going to be making the right decisions later today or whether I should come back tomorrow. Right. But if you've just taken the one loss there, fuck it, whatever. And then say you take a loss here because this is a valid trade on the seconds or whatever, which it probably is. Right. Then, yeah, like, and then it goes like that. Don't stop trading just because you've taken 2 losses. You were still like, okay, here you were a little bit wrong, right? But here you were right. Essentially, you just fucked up the entry. Right. But you were still right. So you can still look at this and go, okay, well, I can just follow this up, follow this up, follow the, look, there's another entry. Let's go. Make sense? What do you mean when you say after price hits refine PII, like think less about analysis and more of order interaction? So like that, like literally think about like, right, when this, say here, right, I'm not going to be marking all of this up in the moment, right? I'm not going to be going, okay, like what's happening here? Like, yeah, boxes. What I'm going to be looking at is, okay, cool. What have I just seen? All right, I've seen a run on liquidity. I've seen a V-shaped recovery. Okay, there's buys in the market, right? Cool. So what do I need to see sells, to see buys validated again? Well, I need to see some sells get taken out. Where can I see the sells here? Okay, well, this range is gone. Cool. There's my entry. Right. I'm not like marking it up. I'm just looking at it and thinking, okay, what's happening? Like who's in control right now? Who is in control of the market? Well, buyers, because they've just taken out this range. Right. This makes sense because I know this is a POI and blah, 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 blah. Right. So it's like, don't think of structure, this, that, the other. Try to think of it more like intuitively, right? Like really, like it's reading price, right? Like it's like, yeah, we want to see the entry models, but you should know those entry models. Do you know what I mean? Do I only trade EU? Yeah, mate. I don't, to be honest, I get plenty of R from EU and I'm far too lazy to really bother trading anything else. No, I don't have set trading hours, mate. I'll trade whenever there's studying. Break everything down separately, mate. Like maybe we should do a little PDF on that actually. But yeah, basically break each of the concepts down separately, right? So like initially I would start with structure, right? Backtest structure fully. Like Pete, do you mind like maybe writing a little thing of how you did it? Because you've done it in a really good way, mate. I've been really impressed with your work, to be honest. Like just a short little synopsis of like how to do it, like how you approached it. Yeah, perfect. Cheers, mate. Like I think a lot of people would find that really helpful, mate, because you've been very fucking diligent with it. It's been like even some of the shit you've been showing me, I'm like, well, I've never thought of that. Like so, yeah. I think it'd be great, mate. To be honest, daily goal or weekly goal? Nah, man. Why have goals, bro? Like, you're both limiting yourself and making an expectation of yourself at that point in time. Yeah, GU is exactly the same, mate. Yeah, like goals, limits, all of this stuff. Yeah, I would never say to anyone, like, think about when you set yourself a profit target, right? For me personally, you're doing 2 things, right? You're putting an expectation on yourself that you have to make 10R that day, right? And you're putting a limitation on yourself that you can only make 10R that day. Like that's, yeah, I don't know, that doesn't seem logical to me. Go through today's structure ideas. Yeah, of course, mate. Okay. So today, right, structural idea, initial structural idea, right? Let's go into a clean chart, actually. Oh, fucking hell. Sorry, I appear to not have clean charts anymore nowadays. It's clean chart, I think. Yeah, cool. Okay, so structural ideas, M15, right? Let's talk about 4H first. Okay, 4H, what have we done? Okay, 4H, we have had a significant, like this is a significant supply level getting taken out, right? Like a significant supply level, right? So my overall structural idea is that we're probably going to see a higher low from here in a retrace because of discount, all of this sort of stuff, right? So cool. We've run a low and we've seen no close below. So automatically this high is weak, right? And likely to get taken. Yeah, cool. That's 4H at that point in time. So 4H, I'm expecting a bullish push, right? M15, we wake up. God, it's getting really bad, isn't it? You lot are all fucking wrong. You're all going to hell. You know this, right? Yeah. Look, right. Anyway, so M15, we wake up, right? We have this structure here. Like for me, I'm going to close this chat box right now. For me, we have this high gets taken, right? Internally. So I'm expecting a high low from somewhere beneath here, basically, right? But we get a change of character here, right? So we can trade the shorts into that, look for the buy. Can't get in the buy because, yeah, bullshit, whatever. Here we could definitely trade the pullback as well because we get this big run on liquidity, so we can play the pullback to a deeper mitigation of something within here, right? Then we're looking for that higher low, and then we're just not trading against order flow until and we get a 15M change of character, basically. When we get a 15M change of character, we can trade shorts again, which it looks like we might be getting. No. So yeah, we could probably look for the pullback now if that low goes. I don't know whether it has or not. They're like it's a bit late now, obviously, but yeah, there may well be a pullback trade. I don't even know what that's mitigated, but yeah, that makes sense. EQ that was never mitigated. So yeah, we may see like a pullback back down into like this, perhaps this, something like that. But yeah, structural idea was just looking for that higher low because this is what essentially what we've seen is this gets broken. So it like the overall idea is that we're looking for that higher low here, basically. Yeah, exactly that. Like I think I said it first in someone asked me first thing this morning, like, what are you looking at this? And I was like, well, initially, depending on how it reacts, I'd be looking at this as a sell to buy. Because yeah, that's what made sense at that point in time. Like, yeah, it was all of it. Yeah, the price action was a bit fucked up, but yeah, happens. But yeah, does that make sense? No, not for all of them. I'm just looking at this like we're just trading like all I'm thinking at the moment is we're at the lowest prices we've been all year. Like I doubt we will see lower prices again this year. I would guess they will need to take some profits. So I guess we will see a pretty heavy retrace. But yeah, and you can see here, like we've basically got this, essentially we're just trading in this huge consolidation, like here to here, right? And all of this is still at a discount, right? Yeah, hope that makes sense. Cool. All right, guys. Yeah, peace and love. I hope it helps. And yeah, Samuel, what? Yeah, it was quite funny actually. Yeah, no, Amsterdam 2022, mate. Cool. All right, peace, guys. I will chat to you all later.